Okay, welcome audience to podcast number 4 of CSEL Chat. So, this has been a great experience to be able to do these chats with you all. Hopefully you're all getting a chance to be able to listen to them, because it's all about leader development. It's not for me, it's not for my host today. It's for you all to help you out and just continue to get better as a leader. So today I have the pleasure to have Chief Petty Officer Patterson, who's our legal NCOIC, non-commissioned officer in charge of our legal section in CJTF-HOA. And our topic today we're going to talk about is leadership and women in the military. A great topic to talk about since March is Military Women's Month. So I think it's a great topic to be able to lead in with Chief. And so, Chief, thank you very much for coming on to CSEL's podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself, and a little experience that you've had?
Sure. So I have been in the Navy almost 20 years. I joined actually as an avionics technician, eye level, so component level avionics. Got out, came back in as a legalman, and I've been doing that the last about 15 years. It's been wonderful. I've got to learn so much about the legal system, and also about leadership. Really, when coming up through the ranks, it's been an interesting career, and I absolutely love leading people and mentoring and guiding and shaping people. So it's been an interesting last 20 years.
Totally agree. We talk about women in the military, and I was just the other day I was looking at the leadership definition, the Army definition for leadership. It says activity to influence, provide purpose, motivation, direction, then improve the organization and complete the mission. And nowhere in there does it say gender. Nowhere in there does it say male. Nowhere in there does it say female, right? And so I've always looked at that. And we're the same way. If a female can do the job, let her do the job. It's the same thing with the male. Male needs to do his job just like, he needs to do, just like, if a female wants to do the job, she should be able to do the job.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that you say that, because when we look at different genders and what these different genders can bring to the table, women and females have such a different level, I think, of compassion and different level of coming at a leadership from a different perspective than males do. And I find that women have traditionally, of what I've seen, and again, this is just my opinion, have had to work harder to overcome obstacles and try to prove themselves in this male-dominated environment that the military specifically is. And it does obviously happen in the civilian sector as well, but we're so male-dominated in the military. And obviously that's changing through the times. But it's definitely something that we have to really prove ourselves, like we can do this, as opposed to men. Oh, that again, that's my opinion.
But that's a good opinion, because I agree with you. Because we all grown up where the husband, the father figure, because as a child you see this, the husband out making the money, and the wife at home, cooking dinner, taking care of the kids, doing laundry. So we grew up that way, where we seen the male going out and doing breadwinning. And my grandpa and my father told me, hey, don't get married until you can take care of your family, right? So it's ingrained in us. But then as you get in the military and you see women doing occupations, MOSs, military occupation skills that a male does, it takes time to change that culture.
Absolutely. And it's gone. I mean, how many years women have been serving in the military? Lots now. And they just keep increasing in numbers. And I find there's lots of interesting aspects about specifically being a woman in the military. They try, the uniforms aren't necessarily built to women. The battle gear, for example, the vests and things aren't built for a woman's figure. Our hair rags are nails, all that de-gender, that takes away the gender from us a little bit. And so our femininity is kind of squashed, I would say. So it's a struggle. I know that there's lots of women who have that struggle. So that's another aspect of being a woman in the military. Now, in leadership specifically, as we're talking about here, I think it's really interesting to know that all of those situations that we're trying to overcome all these years, for years and years and years, has made us such a wonderful asset to bring this diversity into the military in a different kind of mindset. So that's another thought.
And you say diversity. I think that's very important. That's another way to help change the culture, is understanding diversity brings different thought processes, different problem solving to leadership, right? And you said it earlier. Women, think a little bit differently, maybe more analytical than the man does. So combining them, wow. Can you imagine that one right there in the same team, and you have two, A-type personalities. One thinks this way, one thinks this way, but you bring that together. That's a super team right there, right?
It's interesting. I've seen this over the years happen too, where people have had such wonderful ideas, different ways of coming at problem solving, coming up with solutions. It's great. And then being able to teach our junior service members all these wonderful ideas and traits, whether it be male or female. It's really wonderful way to grow them, mentor these junior individuals. There's an interesting story I have, and this kind of goes along with back in the day, what the thought process was for women serving. I was actually at one of my stores I was working at, and there was an older gentleman. He had a hat on, a veteran Navy hat on, and I went up and I said hi, and I said, oh, you were in the service. Where did you when you went and all this stuff? I asked him questions, and he said, oh, I was a chief, in the Navy or whatever. And I said, oh, that's great. I'm a chief too. And he looked at me and he went, you don't look like a chief. And I said, what does that mean? What does that mean to you, right? But there has been we've come forward so far that regardless of what people look like, male or female, we can still do this job, whatever that job may be, serving the country.
No, totally agree with you. And you have to probably remember where he came from. We just talked about culture. So you get to a certain age, you retire from the military, do other jobs, everything like that. And then you get to a certain age, you're not changing your way, right? I mean, my grandma and grandpa, they have a schedule, right? They do the same thing every single day. You're not changing that culture. So probably the same thing with him. He just had the culture of women not being in them leadership positions, right. And we just, I think it was a good question that you brought upon him. He probably was like, whoa.
It was definitely eye-opening for him, definitely.
And that's good. And, we go back and we talked about, women able to do the job, and that's because of their competence, and it's part of Mission Commander's competence, being masters of your individual skills. Women can go out and shoot a rifle expert just like a male can, right? And women can go out and low crawl just like a male can. So that's always, because in the Army, in our combat MOSs, just in 2015, they opened up combat MOSs to women. So bringing women in the infantry was a change for all of us. And the IRF, our East Africa Response Force, 101st, they have a few women in the infantry in their company. And they went down there to Manda Bay and kicked butt just like everyone else did.
Yeah.
Because they are, just because you're a woman don't mean you're not competent, right? And can't be trained.
And lead people. So all of these interesting points of topic, when we talk about leadership in the military, a lot of this hasn't been taught, right? We've learned over the years how we want to lead, whether we see a certain individual, male or female, how we see them lead others, and whether we want to do it like them or if we want to do it the exact opposite of them. And so I think learning through all of this process throughout people's careers or brief stint in the military, whatever they want to do, they can take these little pieces back and utilize those in the civilian sector, whether it be in their job in the civilian sector or even back at home. How do you lead your kids? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you lead your family?
And it all ties together, right? So I think you brought up a good point is about leadership. So, we look at leaders, and that's how we kind of learn by experience. And that's probably a lot of way we learn by what in the Army we call it operational development, OJT, on-the-job training, right? So you take a leader, you watch him or her, and you're like, okay, I want to be like him or her. And then there's the other one, you're like, I don't want to be anything like that. But you're still learning from that.
Yes.
Right?
100%.
Because you're like, I don't want to do that, right? But you take over here, you take his or her. But I always look at it, no matter what gender, it doesn't matter. We all got to continue to learn and be trained to get better as leaders. Because when I was in E5, my paper I wrote, Fighting Conventional Wisdom, I was a horrible leader. I had no understanding about character and caring for leader. I was just straight yelling, right? Standards of discipline. So we got to still continue to train no matter what gender it is. We've got to continue to improve our organizations, male or female, to help them get better as leaders.
And what kind of things can we do to empower our people to learn more? Really growing them, getting them the confidence to be able to be successful leaders, and knowing what is a good leader and what is a bad leader, and those attributes that come along with both sides.
Sure.
So really getting those young service members and working them at a young age and growing them, not trying to grab them when they're already older, but get them when they're younger and really try to utilize their thirst for learning and really grow that, just like water it like a little flower or whatever, just watch them become these amazing service members.
Wow.
Their career.
You just inspired me. I'm serious. I mean, you're so spot on. You look at them young, and they are kind of kids. Me and you, we're a little bit older now, right? And we look at them like they're sponges, and they want to learn, and they want to train. They want to get out there and be better, right? And we got to take that time. You said, a couple great words in there, Shoots. You said empowerment. What a great word. And then, I think you were kind of leaning to risk acceptance and failing.
Of course.
And we've got to let them fail, right? I just went home, my son, he was PCS in his first time, PCS, getting ready to go to Korea. So I said, I wanted to be there to make sure to kind of help him out through the first PCS process. Because I know how difficult it was for me for my first PCS. And so I went there, but I didn't hold his hand. There's a couple, Dad, no. But you need to figure this out, right? It's okay to fail. It's
okay. We can't overly criticize when they do make those small failures that are not like life altering, right, but right. Just those little failures. Say, okay, well, what did you learn from that? How can you better yourself? How can we change the outcome going forward? I think. These young kids too, seeing women in these higher positions of authority as they join, that as more females become more higher ranking and having more responsibility, the junior service members are going to see that as a normality, not as something that's rare. No, that's normal. That's every day. And them seeing that will continue. And we're going to foster this going forward forever, I think.
I like it. I definitely agree. And, we kind of talked about before you said about attributes. If there's something that a woman really brings attribute to any profession, no matter what it is, I think you're, caring. You guys understand about that compassion, right? And just that love for your profession. I think you bring that, because it's kind of ingrained in you, right? Where it's my father, one of the greatest compassionate person, right? Because he's that father figure. Where my mom, guess what? You go get that compassion from mom, you know. So I think, you know, that's something that we have to look at, that women, and we talked about, bring attributes to our formation that can be talent managed into us learning no matter what service it is.
And that kind of compassion, again, that those junior service members are going to see, and they're going to expect that, and maybe they will in turn be able to foster that with other people.
Sure, most definitely. I was watching a YouTube video. We were talking about YouTube videos, right? So I was watching junior ROTC, Reserve Officer Training Candidate School in high school. And I was watching, they train up to, there's this Raider competitions, like Ranger competition, I think, for high school. So I was watching the video, and there was a female in charge of them. And guess what? The males were following her just like that, like it was nothing, right?
As they should, yeah.
So it's awesome because we're teaching them young now, right?
Exactly.
It's okay to take direction from a female. It's okay.
Yes.
So I think it's great that when I seen that, I was like, this is awesome. We're starting them out young, unlike what me and you learned, right? We're starting them off young to understand it's okay to take direction from women.
Absolutely.
So another piece of that is, so when I went to my first, I was 1 year out of high school, and I was, I'm leaning toward the military, right? So I went to my first job interview, and I did horrible at it. So I go in there, and it was for Sears, and so this is funny because it was for electronic cash registers. So they're going to teach me on electronic cash registers. To, go around and train people on electronic cash registers, right? So that's how old I am. Sorry about that, audience. But it was a female interviewing me. And she asked me, hey, do you mind a woman telling you what to do? And here's a 19-year-old kid. I was like, I'm nervous as heck, right? I'm sweating. And I was like, no, right? But it just goes to show that even back in, that was 1992, that, hey, women were starting to get in some of them leadership positions.
I went into an interview many years ago, and they said, oh, can you do this or that? Do you know how to do this or that? I go, no, I don't know how to do it. But you know what? There's nothing I cannot learn and nothing I cannot do the absolute best at. So you just have to put your mind to it. You can do anything.
Agreed.
Male or female.
And that's why you're a great leader. Because, no matter male or female, you got to be confident. You have to have confidence in what you do to be a leader.
They see that.
Exactly.
They see it.
Most definitely I do, and 100%. So, I appreciate you coming in here on Cecil's chat.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we had a great discussion on leadership and women in the military. So is there any last comments that you would like to make for the audience?
No, I just hope that everybody keeps trying to learn, read wonderful books, and go to the leadership forums and things that we have all over on this base. We've got lots of opportunities to learn. We do.
I totally agree. And as in the future, I said it last podcast, but we got some new PAO personnel in here. So here in the future, we're going to try to do Facebook Live, where you all can get on Facebook and ask us questions to me and my guests to assist you to become a better leader or even just leader development in the first place. So thank you very much. See you next month for podcast number 5, Cecil's Chat. Thank you.